What's up, everybody? Agent Mad Hat here. We're gonna start a discography. The discography review of the band Cradle of Filth. Boo! Well, let's get this out of the way first. I'm a huge Cradle of Filth fan, and I'm unapologetic for it. This is a band that's cool to hate, and I don't fucking care. So, let's get that out of the way. So, probably anybody who's watching this video knows about Cradle of Filth and the fact that they're one of the biggest bands in the metal scene. So we're here to do the first album of theirs, The Principle of Evil Made Flesh. And, let's get into it, y'all. This album is kind of unique in their discography. It's one of the ones that is more garnered towards black metal than any of the other albums that they did. It's one where Danny's vocals were different than the style that he later evolved into. One of the things you'll notice about this album is that his vocals are truly vicious. Really, it's kind of a mid-range growl, shriek, not as high pitched and over the top as he would be in later releases. The other thing you'll notice about this album is that it's one of the albums where they have a more raw production also. And here we are, the first album, the album that started things off for them, and it's a pretty damn good one if you ask me. It starts off with Darkness Our Bride's parentheses Jugular Wedding, which is the obligatory keyboard intro to a Cradle of Filth album, and it goes right into The Principle of Evil Made Flesh, which is one of their classics in my opinion. Packs a wallop, punches you right in the face with its lyricism. It shows off Danny's lyricism right from the get-go. From the primeval mass, let precious chaos vent. Sacred flesh drenched in fornication, beloved of Set. May the winds gather her together from the secrets of men. After 1,000 years of terrifying silence, she comes again. What better lyricism could you ask from that? It's a very good song. The riffing in this album is, this album's very riffy, very inspired by hardcore punk, very just riffy. That's about the best way I know how to describe it. It goes from there into The Forest Whispers My Name, which they would later remake. From there into Iscariot, which is another instrumental. From there into The Black Goddess Rises, which, wow, this is a staple. This is one of their classics. I'll just read you some of the lyrics. Thee I evoke, bornless one, all-woman, pure predator, wherein conspiracy and impulse dwell like a seething fall from grace. Thee I worship. Come on. What are you going to do? This is heavy, mid-pace, but then it goes into a melodic interlude. Goes to these slower sections that are more melodic and melodious. Then you have One Final Graven Kiss, another instrumental that's about 2 minutes long, which leads you into the 7th track, a crescendo of passion bleeding. It's actually my least favorite song on here, but it's very visceral. It's very vicious. It's pretty intense. You know what I mean? The blood is the life is one of the refrains of it. It talks about, I stir the hearts of the wisest, by the fools I always be feared. My kingdom feeds off of their slaughter. A crescendo of passion bleeding on the pale reflection of dawn. Devour the sun. Good shit. Awesome shit. Next to Eve, the art of witchcraft. another really good track. The female vocals in this one where she narrates it is particularly awesome. Next, the track number 9, which is one of my favorite Cradle of Filth tracks to date of Mist and Midnight Skies. It starts out with the keyboard rendition of Toccata and Fugue, and the lyricism tells such a good story. Positively Evil, wonderful track, one of their longer tracks on this album, 8 minutes, followed by In Secret Love We Drown, which is probably my favorite instrumental off of this album. You hear, a waterfall or like a babbling brook, just the sound of water crashing over rocks. It goes into A Dream of Wolves in the Snow, which they would use the same motif later in Vampire, but it's a really good intro, a really good lead into the final track, Summer Dying Fast, which is again one of their best songs ever, which then leads into track 13, Imperium Tenebrarum. The sound of this album you could really describe as very riffy. Danny's vocals, like I said, are more visceral, more vicious than they would be in later tracks. It's not so over the top. He has more of a mid-range to his vocals. There's a pretty heavy keyboard presence, but not as much as you would see in albums like Midian. The guitar work is very good. You don't hear, it's very influenced by hardcore punk and just riffiness, which also the keyboards are very melodic. They know how to craft a song in this one more. The songs tell a story. The production is much more raw than you would hear in their later releases. This is one of the ones that garnered them the title of black metal, which according to many of the band members, they never wanted that label, which is why a lot of people don't like them, because they're classified by a lot of people as black metal, and they're really not a black metal band. They're really more of just an extreme metal band leaning towards gothic with a little bit of black metal influences. On this one, they have a few black metal influences. It's a very good album. One of their best, one of their classics. Like I said, the guitar work is very well done. The keyboards are not too overbearing, but yet a lot more expertly crafted than some of their later releases. The standout tracks on here for me would be The Principle of Evil Made Flesh, The Forest Whispers My Name, The Black Goddess Rises, Of Mist and Midnight Skies, and Summer Dying Fast. And then they end on such a great note, the track Imperium Tenebrarum. And let me just read you the lyrics. It's more like a battle cry. There's no music. It's just him declaring. Swords in hand in the bloody fields of history, we rend our blades through dogma and humility and carve the future according to our will, set worlds ablaze with our seething fire. Let you all acknowledge that we are here as masters to rule this failing humanity, our beings formed in rage and defiance, with strength to trample the weak and the foolish. And so we march with burning brands, temples of flame on our path to glory. Sums up the album perfectly. An apt conclusion to a very great album. Raw production, hardcore riffing, visceral, vicious vocals, wonderful lyricism. This is the album that started it all. The Principle of Evil Made Flesh. I would give this album a 93 out of 100. Check this shit out. very, very good album. Started off the Cradle of Filth discography in a great way. Great album. If you haven't already listened to it, you need to listen to it. 93 out of 100. Peace, motherfuckers.